Okay, Beer Nerds, we're back again already. We got a question in all the way from South Africa. Gareth wants to buy a Nitro cap. And wouldn't you know it, I mean, it's almost exactly the conversation I had in the last video talking about these caps from Amazon. And it turns out that there is one use for these caps. And it's really the only good way to make a Nitro Coffee cap at this time. So here you have what's on Amazon. I already had this thing apart. This one did have a check valve. And then there's the stem for the gas, or the liquid, I mean. Let me get my cord out of the way. There we go, that's much better. So you take that out. Basically, you're going to replace this with a stem with a quick disconnect. So that'll go in there, put that on there, and then tighten that on there. And just tighten that right up. 13 millimeter if you're interested. While we're at it, like I said before, let's get rid of this washer. We don't want those. Put one of these green ones on. Everything in focus there. Is my microphone good? Yes. I try to do this quickly because I got to go pick up my son soon. So then we can pull this out of here. See, Gareth is there right now, writing me all the way from South Africa. And he says he's got a 4-liter keg. So we're going to have to change the dip tube a little bit, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So that just comes out, and there's the check valve, right? So then, okay, we'll do this one first, and then we'll talk about this one later. So instead of having that horrible thing that sticks off and the regulator screws on there, we can make the closest thing to the mega caps that I sell, and that's to use these parts. Like I said, I got lots of these around. These are side wall sealing, so a little bit of keg lube on there, and that'll seal up nicely and slide in and out of there. So that right there would give you the closest I can do to a mega cap with the Chinese parts. Now, I did switch out the 35 PSI pressure release valve. Now, you remember I said once you're stuck with this, or whatever you get, you're stuck with it. Well, that's not entirely true. If you are an owner like me and you order like 100 of them from China, you can get them to specially make you ones that are 85 PSI. So I think I ordered about 100 of these when I first was testing them out. You can see how that ring it wants to pull off of there. But yeah, that's 85 PSI. So at 85, you got basically the rest of you get your gas over here, your liquid, and a better ring. So now, here's a kind of a secret. In my early days, I was working with a local coffee company, and they wanted to use the kegs to serve at a restaurant. And so I ordered in these regulators to see what I thought of them, and they're kind of special in that you take a non-threaded nitrogen, it goes in there, and then you blow it, and but then you've got a regulator that can control the flow, and that would be great for serving. These cartridges are rather small, so you probably only be able to serve one keg, and it'd also be great for doing, say, nitro beers, stouts, that kind of thing, Guinness clones. And then that just snaps on there. Now, what this is good for is serving with nitrogen. A little side note, the nitrogen cartridges, some of them are N2, some of them are N2O. When you're making coffee, some people don't seem to mind the O. I've been told that it gives a little bit of a sweeter flavor and kind of does the same thing. But some people prefer the pure N2. I can get the pure N2. I haven't stocked it yet because I'm still kind of sitting on the fence with this. And you'll see why, because it gets a little complicated, and I don't want to sell complicated. But I've got a lot of customers that are the kind of do-it-yourself kind of people, and they'll do complicated all day long. So there's that. I don't sell these regulators. I could bring them in. We'll see. I'm kind of going to send this off to Gareth here, and he's going to be a guinea pig. He's going to tell me what he thinks of it and if it works for him. So I hope that he's an avid coffee drinker and just uses the crap out of this and get some useful feedback. And I'll hear from people out there, whoever watches this. The videos are already getting about 100 views each, and that's shocking in a couple days. I mean, who wants to know about these caps? It's a pretty niche thing. But I got some good comments in too, so I'm going to write those people back. And yeah, it's great. So I'm really excited to keep doing these videos. That's why I'm banging this one off right before I go. I got like 10, 15 minutes left. Okay, so get to the point, Sean. So there's that. But you're not going to get instant nitro coffee out of that. It's going to go slowly in there. You're going to have to shake it. You're going to have to let it sit. So great for serving, but not great for making instant nitro coffee. I tried it. It didn't work. It was too slow. There's a flow restriction in those regulators, which normally would be desirable. So the ones you'll see on Amazon, NutriChef and all those kinds of guys, I'll put the spring in there. And get over here. Are these. So these are the instant chargers, and this is exactly, and I just discovered this one day, completely by accident, that the thread on the gas post was the same as the thread on these nitro chargers. And these nitro chargers are originally, this is the exact design you're going to see in a whipped cream nitro charger. So that's what this is for. And one day I discovered it fit in there. And so that's why I made that video with my son making nitro coffee. You can find that on the video. He's a bit older than that now. And it's a funny thing, I shot that video as just a test. I was just testing the lighting to see if this was going to work, but my son was so cute when I was doing it. The kitchen was messy. There was a pillow on the floor, but he was so cute. I said, I'm just going to publish it. I can't do anything better than that myself. So anyway, get to the point. This would go in here, and that's how you would get instant nitro coffee. Now, if you're going to do that, you got to keep 1/3 of the keg empty. That's why I kind of prefer to do it with a 2-liter keg. Because once you blast this in here, you want to basically serve it right away. So to me, it's kind of like, you got someone over on a Sunday afternoon, you want to make some fancy nitro coffee out on the patio. You charge it, you serve it, you enjoy it, and heck of a lot cheaper than you'd pay at Starbucks for the same thing down the road. So this gives you instant nitro coffee this way, but it's not really great for gently serving because, you could put in a whole new one in there, but you could do it that way. Is it better for larger sizes? Again, I wanted people to kind of let me know what they liked and what they used. I still think I would like to sell a good nitro coffee solution, but I'm not settled on it yet. What would be fantastic is if I could get pure N2, I think, in a threaded cartridge. I've scoured the world, and that's kind of where I gave up. I scoured the world. I couldn't find it. I didn't want to get it specially made. So, but if you could get that, if you get just N2, then you could just use the regular regulators. And you still have the problem of not shooting in there instantly, but at least I'm just selling one mega cap, because that was the other thing that held me back. I didn't want to sell these Chinese Amazon ones just for nitro coffee. Like I was saying before, you want to carry just one thing, and there's just too much configuring. Like, do you switch back and forth all the time depending? Do you want this regulator? It's just confusing for people. I could sell just this as the nitro kit, and that's what I had on my website. Whoa! I had that on the website for quite a while. And but I just didn't want to order in more of these just for this one purpose. I just want to have the one supplier for the mega caps, the good ones, because these still have the drawbacks with the thread. And it really only has one use. You could use it for beer, but you would have to buy this then separately and keep switching them back and forth. Some people, no problem. So I could just sell this. You don't necessarily need that. You could use like this with your beer, and then when you want to switch it back to a nitro. So that's a possibility for some people. But again, I'd have to bring in these caps and I got 2 suppliers. But we'll see. The other thing, like I said before, the drawback of having this as a thread, the way we overcome that is by using these really thick, heavy, braided beverage hoses. I did a whole bunch of tests with this, And yeah, when you shoot that nitrogen in there, even with this 85 psi release valve, you got to put your finger on that to hold it down, give that a little extra. So my feeling is that nitrogen shooting in there probably around 100 psi. Keeping an eye on the clock here. So with these hoses, you can get that over that first lip, and then you screw the hose right onto the cap, and that gave me the ability to serve. The silicone hoses would collapse under that pressure at 85 psi. You know, it would just squish the hose so much that it would make this kind of weird sound when trying to serve it, and it wouldn't work. And then they would pinch, and you wouldn't get any coffee out. It was very strange. So troubleshooting. Screw this on. So this is the hose, and so I'm going to include this for Diego. He doesn't even, or not Diego. It's Gareth this time. Diego's last time. And he's got the 4-liter keg, so we'll give him the longer, and I'll throw in a couple. So that's that. That's the dip tubes for those. And I don't know. You can tell me. I mean, do you think I should carry this? Should I bring it back? There's the two options. Oh, and the other thing I'd say is that, you know, when you're going to serve this, you want to, and this is the great thing about the Intertap and Anuka taps, there's the stout spouts. So it's got the little aeration disc there, and you get that nice foamy stout or Nitro Coffee. And that would just snap right on there, and you're ready to serve. I'll put a link to the video with my son. And I think that's just about everything I got to say about that. And I'm sure I'll get some questions or comments, and hopefully that'll give Gareth everything he needs to mess around with this, and maybe we'll hear back from him collectively and make our own decision about whether to move forward this. Anyway, keep the questions coming, and I'll talk to you soon.